So I kind of wanted to do this one because I've had like several trainers bring this up, the topic being imposter syndrome. And I think if you ever do anything, this idea relates to a lot of stuff. So imposter syndrome is like not feeling you're good enough for the task at hand or the job that you have. You feel like you're a fake. So I felt it like many times in my career. Like even when I just started personal training the first time, despite having like thousands of hours of personal experience, the first time in my first ever session, I was super nervous. The first time I've ever tried something new, like a group class, when I did like the consulting gig in Malaysia. So yeah, anytime you kind of do something. So for example, one of my first clients, she was the head of the PTO at an international school here in Saigon. And I just really wanted to do a good job. I've always had this fear around perception, people judging you and things of that nature. And despite, writing out programs, understanding the client's needs, preparing the program beforehand, asking for feedback from the client, I felt like I wasn't providing value, which is kind of dumb and stupid on my end. So here are some strategies that I've used to help me pass that. One of the first ones I think that took me a long time to figure out is acknowledging that you feel it in the first place. Like if you don't understand that you have a problem, like how can you even deal with the said problem? So I put this first on my list, but it wasn't like the first thing that like came to my head, because it took me years to hone in and be like, yeah, actually, if you don't acknowledge that you don't feel confident or that you don't feel that you're good enough for whatever it is that you're trying to do, you're never going to be able to get past that. So acknowledgement is key, because when you're aware of something, then you can start tackling it head on. This one worked really well for me to sort of get over imposter syndrome was preparation. A lot of athletes like Kobe talks about his preparation game. This quote:
"The confidence comes from preparation. When the game's on the line, I'm not asking myself to do something that I haven't done thousands of times before." Right? So when I prepare, I know what I'm capable of doing, I know what I'm comfortable doing, and I know what I'm not comfortable doing. Right? And so in those moments, if it looks like I'm ice cold or not nervous, it's because I've done it thousands of times before. So it's one more time.
This is a good one, and I think I can talk about this like with real first world perspective. I always talk about this thing of value creation. Like if you create value for people, all the other stuff doesn't matter. The best businesses, the best service providers, the best products, the best experiences are the ones where you feel you get extreme value. Which leads to the next point, experience. When you have experience and you have a proven track record of creating value, aka providing results, then I think the more experience that you get, the less and less and less you will feel this feeling of imposter syndrome. Last thing that I'll talk about, and I think this has worked well because I've experienced it both from the receiving end and on the giving end, is mentorship. Like seek peers, seek people that have done it before you and hear their stories. Because if you're a brand new trainer, if you're brand new in something that you're doing, you don't know what the path is in front of you. And it's kind of scary. It's kind of like, and exciting, but it's also scary. If you can hear from established people that have had years of experience, it eases your mind about the stuff that's going to come along the path, stuff that's going to come your way. And that can give you confidence when it comes to this idea of imposter syndrome. So I've had several mentors in many different facets, like reading books on people that have much more experience than me, reading biographies, like seeing how people new in their position tackle new things, not just in my industry. I find that valuable. Going to conferences and seeing people that have much more experience do their craft, whether that's public speaking, whether that's managing a group, whether that's trying something new in a business. I have imposter syndrome when it comes to PPC as a business. Luckily, I have so many clients that are very successful in corporate roles, in business roles, in entrepreneurship roles, that sometimes it's like getting a free MBA, and hearing them speak gives me confidence. And I hope that are listening to it, that have experience, also pay it forward, because it is our responsibility to pay it forward, to pass on knowledge and experience, and allow those below us to stand on our shoulders and hopefully make less mistakes and grow faster than we did. So that's that talk there. Any questions about this, Will? I mean, for sure I was nervous like a couple weeks ago, like going to Kuala Lumpur. But I didn't feel imposter syndrome. I mean, I think feeling nervous is good. It means that you care. For sure in the past when I've dealt with pro teams, and unfortunately there's sometimes big organizations, so there's a lot of politicking that goes involved. There's a lot of hoops and layers that you have to jump through. And I think in the past, I felt imposter syndrome dealing with sports teams. I don't anymore because I've had much experience dealing with pro athletes, both here and like on the highest level, and also dealing with pro teams here and elsewhere. A lot of times feeling like you have to impress someone or impress like a certain client is actually like a recipe for disaster, because you'll overthink, you'll get away from the fundamentals, you'll start doing flashy things. So just kind of something to think about. Any other questions? How did I deal with imposter syndrome when I first started my career? I think the first time was with a collegiate basketball player in Canada. We went to the same high school, and our high school had a pretty good basketball program, so we all kind of got along. He asked me to train him, because like he knew how much I was like into this stuff. And I was like sort of in limbo, waiting to come to Vietnam. And I said, yeah, okay. I'll tell you what, I haven't done this before. I think I charged him like $30 a session. For sure, I was like, fuck, I'm not good enough. Like I didn't want to charge anything at first. And he's like, no, I got to pay you something. So that was like, luckily I had like a good person that kind of was the first good client, helped me along there. I guess I would say 2 things really helped me. I played high-level basketball. I'm a competitive athlete. So yeah, sports help you get over nerves. Plus the sports allow me to really connect with the person that I was working with. Yeah, sports do so many things for people other than just exercise and skills, like people skills, relationships, leadership, dealing with failure, dealing with process, dealing with routine. So for me, I struggled with not necessarily imposter syndrome, but like, am I valuable enough? I mean, I did all the assessments I could. I was always early. He was late. That's when I started realizing I didn't really want to work with athletes. I went above and beyond. Like after our workouts, like, you know, we worked out this place, had a basketball court there. I rebound for him if he wanted to. So like I was very confident on the value that I gave him through the preparation and current experience that I had. If anything, if I acknowledged it quicker, I probably would have had less imposter syndrome over my years, because I could acknowledge it and then I could reframe my perspective about value creation. Good question. I think that's cool. Okay.